Happy Wednesday, everyone. We got a fun little ladder coming your way with a sandwich. Oh yeah. Now, before we get to that, let's talk about our warm-up. Our warm-up is going to be a heel elevated squat for 3 at 3-1-3 tempo, heel elevated goblet squat for 3 at 3 tempo, and then we have our jump squat for 20 seconds. We're just going to use this to get a little explosive in the hips. Don't worry about going crazy fast. You're trying to get a lot of reps here. We're just looking for a little bit of explosiveness in those hips. Plank the down dog at the end for 3 to 5 to kind of just, again, open up the hips, knees, and ankles. We'll talk about some different ways you can add in and play with that to get your body kind of recovered a bit. Then we'll hit that up for 1 to 2 rounds. Our primary focus here is the squat piece here, and if you, again, don't have an elevated surface for your heels, don't panic. You'll just do this without the elevated surface, and you'll hit that nice smooth air squat with the tempo into a goblet squat with that tempo, and then hit that jump squat. Our next phase of warm-up consists of some practice for a specific kind of clean that we had an option for a couple days ago in one of our work sets. We're going to work on a goblet clean, so it's kind of a fun little work set. We're going to do a goblet deadlift for 3, goblet muscle clean for 3, goblet clean for 3, and then we're going to move into a humeral glide to push-up for 3 to 5 reps to work on that upper body engagement and some skill work for what's to come in our workout. Now, this is all skill work. It's really not going to get the heart rate up too much. So what I would suggest is giving yourself a little practice round of what's to come. So hit this practice round, or this practice work set, and then let's use these movements in our work set for our practice round for less reps. The workout today is a wall run / butt kick for 90 seconds cumulative. All right, trying to get as many steps in as you can in that time frame. I will also have some different options for that on the workout description, depending on what you have access to it. So check that out for yourself. I will have some different options here for you. After that, we have this ladder, a descend and ascending ladder. So it's a nice little chance to play. We have 12, 9, 6, 3, 6, 9, 12. So it's pretty fast. The reps aren't huge, but it's a fast little work set that's going to get your heart rate jacked up, and it's going to be a really good push. We have our dumbbell goblet clean, which we're going to walk you through in that warm-up, and then our burpee. Once we're done, 12, 9, 6, 3, 6, 9, 12, we're going to move into one more set of wall run / butt kick for 90 seconds, or your choice of cardio piece that you choose in the workout description. So it's not going to be a long one again today, but it is going to have a little bit of layered work to it. So have some fun with it. Push the pace of this couplet and really, really have some fun with this one. It's going to burn. It's going to be a good little sprinter. Let's warm you up. Let's get you ready. Let's have some fun. Let's get those feet under those hips. Let's take the arms big and tall up overhead. We're going to reach our arms over to one side. We're going to come back through. Reach the arms to the other side. We're going to come back up. We're going to shrug those shoulders. Pull those shoulders down and then forward fold. Touching them toes. We're going to walk up the body. We'll come back down, frame the foot. We'll step back into your lizard. Nice and square in those hips. We're going to take that back knee down. Press the hip. Come back through, open up through the outside hand, come back down, press the hip, back through, outside hand, and one more time, press the hip, come back through, and outside hand. We're going to plant that hand down, grip the floor, straighten out the leg in the back. We'll step back into our down dog. And in that down dog, let's walk those heels, nice and slow, just feeling out those feet and ankles. Making sure things feel pretty good. We'll come back into our plank. We'll step a foot up. Nice and square in those hips. Lowering the knee. We'll press the hip. Open up through the outside hand. Come back down. Press the hip. We'll come through. Outside hand. Back down. And press the hip. Come through. Outside hand. We'll plant that hand. Grip the floor. Straighten out the leg. We'll step back into our down dog as we reach those hips, walking those heels out one at a time, nice and gentle. We'll come back into our plank, pressing the floor away, tiptoe those feet up. We're going to roll ourselves all the way up, big and tall. Good, big reach. Oh, big reach. We'll come back down with those hands. Roll, you guys. Here we go. Now, if you have any extra movement, take that down, rock it, get yourself ready. We're going to come at you with that squat warm-up to get that body fired up. Our first phase of work is going to kickstart off with some elevated squats. Now, again, if you don't have an elevated surface at home that you can put your feet on, don't worry about it. You can just rock our feet flat on the floor and just work on some really good squat mechanics. So if you're looking at this without an elevated surface, regular squat stance, hip to shoulder width, feet nice and flat, weight through the laces. Now, if we do have an elevated surface, what we're looking at, our feet are going to be a little narrower and our toes are going to be pointing a little bit more straight ahead. Laces are going to go right over top of that elevated surface. So for me, the plate, my laces are right on the edge that I have my foot on. I'm nice and tall, and I'm going to try and stay centered over top of those laces the entire time. So I'm going to set my ribs, I'm going to take my hips down towards my heels, really focusing on staying as upright as I can in that squat, and then pushing through that midfoot and standing up nice and tall to that full hip extension. Pulling those hips down with that nice slow tempo, and then pushing through those legs, and then standing nice and tall. So we're really taking a little bit of pressure off the ankles to get a little deeper, but at the same time it's going to help open up that squat depth and range for the hips and the knees to help get that nice deep squat. Now remember, just because it's easier on this plate doesn't mean we disengage or go beyond our positioning. It's a good position for our back. We want to make sure we're active and solid all the way through. Our next exercise in this is a heel elevated goblet squat, or a goblet squat. So it's the exact same format, setup, except we're holding the dumbbell under the chin in this goblet position. Again, I'm staying as upright as I can, staying centered over those laces, and then pushing through those feet right through that midfoot the entire time. So I'm staying centered, nice and balanced, and staying centered all the way back up. It's very easy to get pushed forward on these plate squats, so we really want to make sure that we're staying in that midfoot and staying nice and active the entire time. Now from here, what we're looking at is a beautiful set of jump squats. So we have 3 different variations. So we're going to come off of the plate if we're using an elevated surface. My feet are going to come into my natural squat stance. We have our air squat, so we take it down, good squat mechanics, tall, so weight staying through the midfoot, knees tracking those toes. We have our non-jumping jump squat, take it down, push through, come back into that nice pull, so my heels come off the ground because of that drive through the legs and the hips, but then I pull back down aggressively into that squat. And I have my last variation, which is the jump squat. I pull down, I push, and then I land in the bottom of that squat, nice and strong and stable. So the only difference between the non-jumper and the jumper, I actually leave the ground a little bit. I'm not trying to jump super high, nor am I trying to get as many reps as I can in 20 seconds. I'm working on getting a little explosive through the drive, and then working on actively pulling back into that squat. That's going to help kind of really gear our body to what we have to do in the cleans. So take your time with those jump squats. I'm not looking for max reps. Ease into this movement. Plank to down dog is next, and this is here just to take a moment to stretch out the upper body, stretch out the body and the legs a little bit. So we push the floor away with those hands just outside the shoulders. I'm going to draw back into my down dog, softening my knees and ankles, pushing through the ground. And I'm just going to walk my heels a couple times just to kind of wake up my ankles a bit, and then come back into that plank. So it's a really nice opportunity to wake up that upper body, kind of play around with the heels a little bit, work on stretching out the calves a little bit, and then coming back into that plank. So with that positioning, we want to really push the floor away through the shoulders, the entire flow, and that entire kind of flow up and down into that down dog. So really feeling and focusing on the shoulders and still having a neck the entire time, so we're not losing that neck position in our down dog. As a quick recap, we have a heel elevated squat for 3 reps at a 3-1-3 tempo, heel elevated goblet squat for 3 at a 3-1-3 tempo, jump squat, 20 seconds. Again, looking for just a nice moderate intensity just to get the legs going, and then a plank to down dog for 3 to 5 reps. Again, working on those shoulders, working on those hips, whatever else you need to take down. 1 to 2 rounds of that, take that down, get that squat down, dialed in, whatever you need to do to get those legs ready, because we got a little bit of work for those things coming up shortly. So Pause the video, take that down, come back, and we're gonna talk about our Goblet Clean. Alright, you guys, we have our Goblet Clean kind of breakdown. What we're gonna do is break down this movement with the Goblet Deadlift into a Goblet Muscle Clean, and then the full-on Goblet Clean. So our legs should be relatively warmed up after all the squats we did earlier. Now it's time to put it into practice. So the dumbbell is on its end right now. What I'm gonna do is stand over top of the dumbbell in its vertical position. I'm gonna draw my hips back and down in that good hinge position. So my pretty standard deadlift back position. Now with this, I don't have to go as deep as I normally would for a dumbbell sumo deadlift or a dumbbell snatch. So we can just take it down to where the dumbbell is. And then what we're gonna do, pushing through those legs, stand nice and tall with the arms straight. So from here, we come back down, touch the dumbbell to the floor, come back up. And we're just working on a loose grip around the bell that allows us to stand it all the way up and control it down. Our next movement, I'm gonna face the front. It starts from the same position as the deadlift, so that hinge pattern is identical. But the only difference is now we're gonna muscle clean. So we're gonna get a little bit of speed through the middle, get some lift on the dumbbell. So we're gonna take our body down, we're gonna push through the legs, and we're gonna pull it up under the chin. And we come back down, touch the floor, set, push through the legs, up under the chin. So we're gonna do that muscle clean. So we're using that leg drive to get lift on the dumbbell and then pull it into that goblet position. So we're gonna do 3 of those. Remember to pay attention to the loading of the dumbbell you have, because if you put too much juice behind this, that dumbbell's gonna come flying up. So we wanna make sure we're only putting as much energy into the dumbbell that we need to according to the loading. Now our next movement is the full goblet clean. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work through that same muscle clean action, except we're going to pull ourselves down under the weights. We're gonna meet the dumbbell on its way up. So I get into the same position as my deadlift. I push through the legs, same as the muscle clean, except I pull myself into that full squat. I come back down with the dumbbell, touch it to the floor, push, pull myself to the dumbbell, and then come back up with it in the goblet position. From the side, it looks like so. I set, pull, and stand, and come back down. So it's going to give you a slightly different sensation than a traditional dumbbell clean, okay? It's a little different. It's going to simulate more along the lines of a med ball clean, and that's what we're looking for. Loading for this in the workout can be on the heavier side, but we do want to make sure that we can still cycle these reps relatively steadily. There shouldn't be a reason the loading holds us back from doing these unbroken. So as we're warming it up, pay attention to how these feel, right? If 3 reps is tough, we should probably take the load down a little bit, depending on what you have access to. So we're looking for a moderate load here, something that's challenging, but something that we can move for at least, I'd say, 12 to 15 reps. Now, once we're done that goblet clean work, we're gonna lay ourselves on the floor, and we're gonna warm up our Humeral glide to knee push-up. My hands are going to be stacked under my elbows, just outside the shoulders. I'm going to pull the shoulders forward, and I'm going to pull the shoulders back. My ribs are going to pull in. I'm going to push to the knees, and then I'm going to slowly lower down with control, and then relax. So again, my shoulders come forward where I don't want them. My shoulders come back and down to where I do. My ribs pull in, pressing and maintaining that core position, and then with control, I lead with the chest and lower to the floor. Our goal here is to maintain that tripod, so hand and head, creating that nice little triangle, and also working on maintaining that stacked elbow position. So making sure the wrist stays underneath the elbow the entire time as we lower to the bottom. Now with this gives us an opportunity to work on a little bit of finessing our push-ups, so we can work on resetting our core position at the top. We can add in a 5 to 3 second tempo, lowering down towards the floor. It depends on where you're at and what you're looking for in this Humeral glide to knee push-up. But use it for what it is. It's some skill building and a little bit of strength work here to work on finessing that push. Now, as a quick recap, we have a goblet deadlift for 3, goblet muscle clean for 3, goblet clean for 3, humeral glide to knee push-up for 3 to 5. This is a nice little technical work set here to practice and get yourself ready for the movements that are coming. You can start actually loading this a little bit more closer to what you're going to use in the workout as well. But like I said before, it's not going to get your heart rate super high. So what I'd like you to do before we start this next phase of the actual work set, hit a practice round. Go through maybe a little bit of your cardio of choice that you're going to use. Hit up a couple goblet cleans, couple burpees, get a feel for what it's going to feel like in that work set to get that heart rate up. So for now, pause the video, take down that practice work. We're going to talk about the movements that are coming in the workout, and then we're going to turn you loose. All right, you guys, we have the workout at hand, wall run / butt kick, or cardio of choice. So check the workout description, check that out for yourself, and make sure you're happy with what you're going to use. With the wall run though, and the butt kick, we're going to stand up nice and tall. I'm going to hold my body in this nice tall posture. Ribs are engaged a little bit to make sure I'm staying upright, not slouching. My elbows are at a 90, and I'm going to work on pulling my foot up underneath of my hip. So I create this figure 4, which pushes my knee slightly forward out in front of the body. All right? We're not out here with the foot, we're not way back here, but we're just pulling that foot straight up, and we can work on a nice, easy kind of jog. We can work on a faster run, whatever you feel comfortable with to accumulate 90 seconds of work. Now the wall run is exactly the same, except we're going to use a wall and we're going to lean into the wall. Our positioning is the same. So we pull that foot up underneath of our glute and underneath of our hips while pressing into the wall. So imagine if you're doing the wall run and you just take the wall away, you just start running, right? You don't fall over, you just start running. So that's kind of the idea of the wall run. It kind of builds that posture, that engagement, and the kind of that ball of foot striking in our movement and our run. So we can play with that at whatever pace, whatever speed you'd like. If you'd like to work the wall run / butt kick, either one, you're going to accumulate 90 seconds. Once you're done that 90 seconds, we have a 12-9-6-3, 6-9-12. Goblet clean, so the clean we just went over in our previous warm-up. So if you need some points of performance, please scroll back, check that out. And burpee. So we have 2 variations of the burpee. We have our full burpee, which looks like so. We also have a step back variation, or any combination of those 2. You can jump back, step back, jump up, whatever you'd like. Couple key points to keep in mind: core engaged throughout, elbows stacked over the wrist, and that nice solid tripod. So all those key points of the humeral glide to knee push-up transition over to our burpees. We want to really focus in on those and make sure we're hitting those every single time. Now our next movement is our squat thrust variation. So our squat thrust, we come down, we grip the floor, jump into our plank, pop it up, or we step back, step up, continue on. So very similar kind of format to the burpee, except we don't push. So what we need to think about is that nice lockout through the arm, wrist stays under the shoulder the entire time, core is nice and set, and basically waist up is pretty static, where our lower body is doing all the work. So it's either jumping out, jumping in, stepping, jumping, whatever it happens to be, that combination. But we want to make sure we're keeping our midsection super, super strong to make sure that we can be dynamic and quick with that explosiveness. Neither is better nor worse. I like the squat thrust. You can cycle them really fast. You get a little more cardio response. But whatever one you want to work on today, please take it down and enjoy. Once we're done our 12-9-6-3, 6-9-12, we are going to move back to that same cardio piece of choice at the end for 90 seconds, and then take it down good and hard. So this work set is going to be a good little gasser. Make sure you get that heart rate up before we start the work set to get yourself ready for what's to come. Now everyone, I hope you enjoy this midweek workout. I'm looking forward to hearing about this one, so let me know how this one goes. Let me know what you chose for cardio. I'm always interested in hearing these things. It makes me happy when I get that feedback, and it's just a good time to hear and join in. So, work for quality, have a ton of fun. We'll see you tomorrow as we continue our adventure closer and closer to the holidays. Bye, you guys.